The Fancounters Celebrity Podcast, number 169. Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast.
You were like the carrot top of interviewers.
Wow, how disappointing was that question?
You did not just ask me that.
Well, that's a big question.
Never mind, I'm done. I'm not doing the show.
Wow, I can't believe it.
I'm telling you, I'm hooked.
Nick.
Yeah, he's so awesome. He's still a good friend of mine.
Welcome to the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast. My name's Nick.
And I'm Tracy.
And you can follow us on social media, starting off with YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you. Hit the subscribe button. And if you're not, you can watch us. Just look for Fancounters Podcast and subscribe because we're climbing to 1,000 subscribers and hoping to get there really soon so we can monetize this podcast and maybe actually have the show pay its own bills for once.
That'd be nice. Eh?
That would be great. We're on Instagram at Fancounters Live, Facebook if you search Fancounters, and you can email us at hello@fancounters.com. That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Great news coming out of the entertainment world. Tim Burton is coming back to direct a live-action Wednesday Addams series for Netflix.
Seriously?
Yeah. It's right here. Now, here's the shocking part. In the movies, Christina Ricci played young Wednesday Addams, and I thought that this would be kind of a series about a grown-up Wednesday and what she would be like now.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't look like that's the way they're going because they think that Christina is too old to play Wednesday. I completely disagree because I love seeing the classic characters played by the same people.
Yes, I agree.
Now, they did the Sabrina series on Netflix. That was the Melissa Joan Hart series. And they cast, obviously, somebody very much younger because they put her back in high school. Melissa Joan Hart couldn't pull that off. But I thought, I don't know what the series is going to be like. I love the Addams Family. My kids love the Addams Family. So I'm thinking that it's going to turn out to be something good. But I wish it was kind of like Wednesday growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be cool to do that because, when you do the shows when the people are kids and you come back later, 20, 25 years down the road, you want to see them still play that character, but as an adult.
That's right.
That's the way I am with it.
It looks like Wednesday Addams is going to evolve into a bit of a detective type role, and we'll see what it comes out to be. But that is going to be starting very soon, so I'm sure we won't see it on Netflix. I don't know, a few months or something.
Yeah.
But it's something to look forward to.
Could be interesting.
Oh, it definitely will be. And then in the world of sports, this story is just going to shock you, Tracy.
Uh-oh.
Tim Tebow is retiring from Major League Baseball.
Did he have a Major League Baseball career other than in the minors?
He had a minor league baseball career.
I didn't know that.
No, he didn't. Which is really funny because a week before his announcement, he had an interview where he was saying how excited he was to join the Mets in spring training, and he was gearing up for the season, and he wanted to make the team, and now all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, shocking announcement, he's not coming back.
Hey, that's okay. He does a really good thing for people with special needs. It's called Night to Shine.
Oh,
and it's amazing, and he can focus more on that because it's a great thing.
Tim Tebow's a good guy.
Yeah,
I don't think baseball was ever his forte. I saw him like some videos of him playing, but he didn't seem like he was major league caliber. No. So hopefully he'll go on to better things. But I just thought I would make that major announcement on his behalf. He's leaving baseball. As we get the season underway, we decorated our set. We've got the racing sausages. Tracy's in his brewer attire again. And I've got some sports memorabilia over in the corner over there. Oh, I'm pointing in the wrong direction, but
that's right.
Whatever.
That's okay.
Anyway, so we're looking forward to the baseball season. Hopefully we can get some fans in the stands. You talked to the Brewers.
I did. I talked to the Brewers on the way here and was told that they don't have a decision made yet, but it hopefully is coming soon on whether they're going to have opening day in person or not.
Well, in person with us today is a guest that I'm pretty excited to have because he was on a show in the 90s that I watched called Dawson's Creek. It was a WB show, and he played the friend of Jack played by Kara Smith, but he had scenes with all of the Dawson's Creek gang. And he knows a friend that I have, he knows one of my friends.
That's cool. And you were a fanatic of that show, weren't you?
Well, that goes pretty far, but I did enjoy it. I rewatched it about 6 years after it went on the air and thought it held up pretty well. So,
well, you also went out to where it was filmed and stuff, right?
I did. I went on a road trip to Wilmington and I saw the filming in action. I think it was season 2 or 3, and that was pretty cool. And had a run-in with Katie Holmes, which we'll talk again about. If you've listened to previous episodes, you've heard the story before, but Bourke hadn't heard it before, and he's got his own stories about Katie Holmes. So we'll talk a little bit about her and soap operas and brand new movies. And
yeah, he's busy.
He's a very busy guy.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's even going to sing the theme of Three's Company.
Yes, he will.
All right. So this is Bourke Floyd, star from Dawson's Creek and All My Children and many, many other shows and movies. And we will follow up with him right now on the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast. Bourke Floyd, welcome to the Fancounters Celebrity Podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Really, really happy to be here. Excited.
No problem. Now, I know Dawson's Creek was a long time ago, but I do want to dive into some curious questions I have of that series. My wife and I watched the series through the whole run, so I'm a big Dawson's Creek fan. I went to Wilmington to watch the outside filming of the Jack doing football and all that stuff, so I geeked out on the show.
Sure. Okay. For Jack doing football in high school in seasons 2 and 3.
Exactly. Yep.
Amazing. Yeah. UNCW. Beautiful campus.
Yeah. So I also have a friend who joined the cast late in the show like you did. He auditioned 60 times during the run of the show to try and get on the series. He finally did when he played Pacey's fellow stockbrokers. His name's Johnny Alonzo.
Everybody knows Johnny Alonzo.
So Johnny was a guest on our show, and he told this very famous audition story, but you've got one too because they don't pick people the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh time. How many times for you?
Only 13 for me. 13. And it was on Big Lucky 13 that I booked. Of the 13, though, and first of all, let me just say this about Johnny Alonzo.
Yeah.
That guy, everybody knows him because of his hustle, because of his commitment, because of his skill, and in fact, because of his talent. But just all of those things, that dude will forget more about how to work this business the right way than I will ever know in my life. He is amazing and such a great dude. So of my 13 auditions, I played football at University of South Carolina before I was ever an actor. And then I did some modeling, and I was fit, and I'm kind of a bigger than average guy, which worked with Jack. I mean, as you said, you saw Kerr. Kerr and I were, roughly the same height. And I got down to about I lost some of that muscle mass that I had earlier when I first was auditioning for Dawson's. And it literally looked like I was going to beat everybody up. You know what I mean? The first couple of roles I auditioned for, I was like, well, this looks ridiculous. I look like I should be, on Muscle Beach. And, and I was never that big, but just in comparison, it just didn't play right. And I got it. I understood that. And so then I was like, okay. So then I got down to the weight that would work, even though I was still tall. And at one point I got to audition for guy who says, hey, I just lit my fart on fire. And didn't book.
Oh, man.
And didn't get that role. And so when my agent called, or my manager actually called and said, hey, Dawson's wants to see you for this recurring role. It's a contract role. You should, you should really go out for it. Obviously, it's a short notice, but they really want to see you. And I was like, no chance.
Right.
If I can't be guy who lit my fart on fire guy, if I can't be that person, there's no chance they're going to hire me as this Brady character that's in a bunch of episodes and kind of integral to the plot of Jack's storyline. There's just no chance that this is going to happen. And one of my friends was like, are you seriously not going to go to the audition? Because if you're not going to go to the audition, I'm going to pound you into the ground. Because that's absurd that you wouldn't take the opportunity. Right. Like you said, Johnny Alonzo, who again is immensely talented, 60 times before he booked. Yeah. You know what I mean? So my friend was like, you better go. Like I will tell everyone that you passed on an audition for Dawson's. And at the time, too, the show was really a big deal. It was for that age group, for us, that to be on that show, that was kind of a pinnacle show for that time period. And so I went, and I fortunately booked, and I just, man, I loved my experience on it. The first thing I ever did professionally was I was a featured extra when I was 12 or 11 or 12 on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Wilmington, North Carolina at Screen Time Studios. And that was just a random happenstance thing. I got picked up on the beach at Wrightsville Beach and worked on that, right? So like to come back to Wilmington to shoot at Screen Gems on Dawson's Creek finally was pretty rad, man. It was a pretty amazing experience, and I really, I'm 19 and reruns forever now, so that's kind of
absolutely cool. Yeah. I watched a couple of your scenes this morning. I was like, okay, I got to find Bourke on these shows, and sure enough, you had scenes not only with just Jack in that scary episode, which is, I hate those episodes where they do something that's totally not with the plot, but whatever. But the scene, you did have a group scene on the dock with all of the cast. Yeah. So what was it like working with all of the stars that were on that show, as part of one scene?
Yeah, actually the director of that episode, he's gone on to direct a lot of things. I think he directed like Pitch Perfect and some stuff. The director of that episode was a theater director before, and this was like one of his first. Greg Berlanti was our showrunner at that point. David Hartley was like supervising producer, and Greg Prange was supervising producer and executive EP, right? But like Greg Berlanti was this young guy that was calling the shots, and now the universe that is Berlanti is unbelievable. I mean, something like 19 or 20 shows at a time this guy's running. But he would take these, they're certainly not flyers, because again, this director went on to, Jason Moore, he went on to do like really great things and is a fantastic director. But it was sort of if I remember correctly, right, and I'm not trying to speak out of turn, it was an amazing experience, but that particular scene, that day was like something like a 17-hour day, ended up being like a 17-hour day. Which, cry me a river, there are people there are nurses that work 24 and 48, firemen and stuff. So I'm not, there are teachers that work 15-hour every day. So it's not like, I'm not like sympathetic, but in the acting world and in the film and TV production world with all of those unions, a 17 or 18-hour day is like, you can hear the cash register ringing in the background, right? And like David Hartley had come to set towards the end. He's now the showrunner on, or one of, I think Antoine Fuqua was the showrunner, but Hartley is now one of the executive location producers for Resident, which is also a great show. So and films in Atlanta, but it was this balancing act. And actually, I will confess something only to you guys. This will be the first time I've ever told the story. This is the truth. This is the only time I've ever
exclusive.
Told the story. Brady was supposed to belch in that scene, and I never have known how to make myself burp like people can do it. So earlier in that episode, we were doing an anchor relay, where you're drinking the pitcher and passing it down as a team. And I was on Dawson's team, and we win, and Dawson and I are friends, and his dad's died, and now I've gotten Dawson drunk, and Jack's the reason why he's even in our crew in the first place, and everything's about to blow up, and Brady's supposed to be so disgusting and burp, and I was crushing Sprites, and I just I couldn't get it.
Wow.
I just couldn't get the burp. And you know what? Like on an 18-hour day, or on a day that's already at this point, like at 15 or 16 hours, and all the stars are there, literally everybody was in that scene. You're like, they're dollar signs on everything at this point. And I mean, because everybody's in like a golden hour getting paid huge amounts of money and costing way more, shooting the budget. And, and I can't get a belch going. I mean, it was pretty awful. I can't even remember how we covered it. I will say this, I kept crushing warm Sprites because I had remembered that would make me belch when I was a kid. And so I was crushing warm Sprites, and we wrapped after that scene. We had lost all the light anyway. We had wrapped, the day's over, and I didn't stop belching for like 5 hours. Like all this, I had heartburn and belching, and it was awful. And just that, like an actor playing a frat guy who doesn't know how to belch.
Wow. And holding up the production
as
well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we only busted out. I think I only blew one take, but at that point, one takes. I don't even want to know the math of what one take was, but it didn't happen. It didn't come out in the take. Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing, frankly. But I still get hired. Thank God they brought me back from One Tree Hill, so I'm not going to be mad about it.
Exactly, Johnny too. I'll let you talk in just a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm on a roll here. I got Dawson stuff to deal with. Katie Holmes was on the show, and that was a big thing for me. Is when I went to Wilmington, I had to see Katie Holmes in person, and I did. Right in front of Leary's Fish Shack, okay?
100%. Yep.
And everybody's kind of gathered around. This is when the fans were actually able to go up to the cast during a break or whatever. And I was kind of standing by the door, and I was like, Katie, I'm a big fan, da-da-da. And she goes, thanks. Can I go in now? And I was like, you did not just do that to me. So what was your experience with Katie Holmes?
She was awesome.
You suck.
But here's the thing, right? Is like as far as humility and all of that, Katie stayed living in the same apartment for almost for the last 3 or 4 seasons. She kept the same apartment. She kept it year round. She drove the same Honda Civic Del Sol in that really awful kind of almost this seafoam as my shirt, that teal green kind of seafoam green that Honda had in the Del Sol.
I remember that.
Yeah. She drove that through all the production, all of that. She was really really very, very kind to me personally. And I never saw her be rude to anyone. I will say that in Wilmington, which I love Wilmington. I love that city.
It is pretty, yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, and there's great food, and Hieronymus, the Hieronymus fisheries that Larry gets the fish from, and Dockside and all of that. The Hieronymus family, you can literally go up and be like, "Yo, can I buy that? I'm going to cook dinner," and buy the fish as they're getting it off the boat. Legitimately, it's an amazing experience in Wilmington. But in that small town, very, very accessible. A lot of excitement about the cast.
Yes.
That in that environment, it's unfortunate that you were met with, can I go in now?
Yeah.
But I will say the likelihood of you being the 10th to 15th or 20th person that had stopped her from just trying to simply get one is really high. The likelihood that you were the 15th person.
I'm sure. I'm totally sure of that. And who knows? Craft services was probably inside and she hadn't eaten all day. Who knows?
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? It's like crazy, the accessibility. And so I actually did a couple of my episodes before 9/11, which was obviously nationally on a national and worldwide scale, just horrific for the world. Yeah. And if you recall, after 9/11, there were a lot of immediately following it when we came back into production. We were delayed for a little bit, obviously, and then we came back in. If you remember, there were just a lot of we kind of similar to now a little bit in what's safe and what's the right way to handle things and what's the dangerous thing and what's not. And so we all had security assigned to us. Just as as some sort of production liability insurance or whatnot, that Sony, Columbia TriStar, who owned the show, assigned us security. I remember that. And I remember that my driver thought my name was Bart and never got it. I remember he called me. He's like, Bart. I was like, it's a Bourke. Yeah, Bart. Hey, man, for Daubers Creek, I'll be picking you up in the morning at 6 a.m. Don't be late, Bart. Don't be late. I was like, it's Bourke. He's like, right, gotcha, Bart. Talk to you later. I kid you not. And I come out, and there he is in the car. He's like, hey, you Bart? I was like, man, I am.
Yes. Time to own it.
Now. Just for the rest of my stay, I'm gonna be Bart. I think. I guess that's how we'll go. But yeah, the whole cast, the production down there. I was on a show called Going to California that was on Showtime Network, and we shot that a lot of different places around, predominantly in the Southeast, Georgia and Florida a bunch, Tampa area. But we shot in Wilmington. We shot an episode in Wilmington. The Naked and the Nude we shot in Wilmington as well. So it's cool that it was at the time Wilmington was really hopping.
Yeah. Not only an actor, you're a model, or you were a model, and you were actually approached on the street, which is really a crazy thing. Did you think that you were being targeted for a scam at that point? I mean, how did that interaction work out for you?
100%. 100%. I totally did. I was walking down the street. I was coming from the gym. I was walking down Christopher Street, Soho area, and in Manhattan. And I was coming from the gym, so I had like my cross, my bag thing, and I think I was wearing like a sleeveless thing. I mean, I had a shirt of some kind on, but it was a workout shirt or a running shirt, And this woman came out of right next to Yellow Rat Bastard, which was like a really cool little shop that they had right there. Right next door was this Mediterranean coffee place that I would never go into because I didn't know how to make the coffee. Like, you know what I mean? I had no concept of what I was even looking at.
Yeah.
She came charging out and stopped me and said, I'm sorry, are you a model? And I said, no. And she, I was like, no, not why? What do you mean? What do you want? And she's like, okay, well, I'm sorry. I just had a client and you're exactly what I just got off the phone with a client, just hung up and saw you and you're exactly who he was describing. And it's just, I was like, okay, look, lady friend, I might have moved here yesterday, but I wasn't born yesterday, and I'm not gonna have it, and you can't have my money. And
exactly. I don't need classes.
I don't need classes, and I don't need to know how to have pretty feet to model tube socks. She's like, yeah, okay, well, that's a lot. You're a lot. But here's my card because you really are exactly what he described just a second ago, and maybe give me a call if you change your mind. And it was Katie Ford from Ford Models.
Wow.
I was like, yeah. So I do improv scenes also. I don't know if you liked it, but that was just I'm goofing around Katie Ford. And it was true. There was initially Abercrombie and Fitch had like Bruce Weber shot all the Abercrombie and Fitches at the time, and the catalogs were very model. And he had just literally, I found out later, truly had just, in the coffee shop, she was on the cell phone, hearing from him how he wanted all-American, athletic, bigger guys. And
there you were.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, as funny as it sounds, like she was like, give me a second. I just totally put my foot in my mouth though. And I mean, I Forrest Gumped my way through my entire life somehow or another. Miraculously, magically, it's worked out. I have no idea.
Well, that got you a lot more jobs too. Not just the one.
Yeah, that blew. Yeah. So yeah, I did a lot. Yeah. I was on the Ford 5 list for 18 months of top 5 grossing models at Ford. So wow. I was like working a lot. I was everywhere. I mean, at one point I had 2 billboards in Times Square at the same time. One was for Jockey and the other was for Valentino. And like, I was on Abercrombie buses. And I say this to someone who doesn't know me, that can so easily sound like I'm trying to flex or whatever. I say it because it's surreal still to this day. Like, I said something to a friend of mine, he recorded an album or whatever, and it's so good. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, when people hear this, like there's no chance I will ever, as soon as people hear this, you are going to blow up. There's no chance of any of our friends ever being as big as you're going to be. And he was like, yeah, you had 2 billboards in Times Square at the same time. I remember seeing them with you. And I was like, oh yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that's pretty weird. That's trippy.
That's funny. Are you going to earn a paycheck and ask a question?
I am going to know. Yeah.
Okay.
So some fans might remember you from All My Children, and soap operas get a bad rap quite often in the acting world, even though they are incredibly tough to pull off given their fast pace. How did you feel about being cast in one, and was it what you expected?
I loved being cast in it. I loved being on All My Kids. I had auditioned for, like, as a model or whatever. Ford kind of had an inside track onto the daytime world, and in New York in particular, it was really heavy there. That was predominantly where they were shot, right? And so I had auditioned for so many of them, and I'd been offered smaller roles, like one-off kind of things, and we had passed on them. I wasn't really, I didn't quite understand why, but they explained it to me. And now as an adult, I look back, I get it. There's a handful of them, and they're not going to create a new one next year. Like for soaps, it's not like there's a pilot season for soaps. Right. Daytime was daytime, and within reason, it was generally speaking just locked. That's the daytime. So if you come on and do one day as one character, you can absolutely, it is daytime. So you can absolutely come back, but it's going to be a cycle of time before you're coming back for for the opportunity at a larger role. So we held off for a larger role. I thought it was so cool working on that show. My first day on the show, we shot at the ABC studios on 13th Avenue, and downstairs one floor from the lobby, you kind of went in this really small, boxy, really tiny elevator. And you had to go downstairs to administration, and then you would go up to the 5th floor for your rehearsal space and your dressing rooms and all of that, and wardrobe and everything. And then you would go up to the 6th and 7th floor to film. And above that were other floors where they kept extra props and wardrobe and everything. And downstairs was the administration office and where they filmed at the time, The View. And if you remember The View, right?
Oh, we know The View.
My first day, actually my prom date, my senior year was my junior year was Debbie Matenopoulos. She went to high school in Richmond, Virginia, and she was the young one on The View the first season.
Yeah.
But the elevator doors open, and I'm nervous, but I'm like, fake it till you make it. Like, it can't be that bad. Like, this will be fine. Just, I had no idea what I was doing. And the elevator doors opened to go up, and coming from downstairs, going up together, were Susan Lucci and Barbara Walters. And
wow.
At the same time, on the same tiny little elevator, and they are incredibly petite women, even with the hair, even with the heels. There's no chance either of them are, legitimately over 5 feet at all. No, not even close. And here comes 6'4", dumb as a brick, me. And the polite thing you do in an elevator, like we all as gentlemen try to, like, you don't want to crowd onto people like in an elevator, so you try to get a little small and give everybody their space. There was not, I was like Zoolander in the corner, like, I'm not here, it's fine, everything's fine. No, I'm fine. And I just remember as they both walked off the elevator, they looked at each other and then looked over their shoulder and shook their heads, and I was like, yeah, off to a great start. Thanks so much. Feel good about it. Feel really good about it. But Josh Duhamel was on that show at the time. Kelly Ripa was on that show at the time. Michael Tate. There were a lot of really talented. Susan Lucci. There are some that stayed with the daytime and went out and did some other things, but really stayed with daytime. I'll say this: nothing on the planet has fans like daytime. Nothing on the planet of acting has fans. Maybe Hamilton.
That's a new thing.
Yeah.
As religiously dedicated to their stories as soaps. And it was a blessing.
My mom is a huge soap fan, and so like when the president breaks in and does his day thing, or they have, she gets so mad. She's like, "They're breaking into my soap opera."
100%. I used to check when Wimbledon was playing, because they would always play it during the day, and I would never fake sick those 2 weeks of Wimbledon because there was nothing to watch on TV. Because it was just I will say the one thing that surprised me about soaps that just didn't click for me until you're doing it is it's close to banker's hours. Like learning the lines, getting all of that is a thing that you work on, but going in that's going to be something you have to focus on.
Right.
But the fact that the day pretty well started at one time and ended before dinner, the way that the production had it down to such a tight science was, really remarkable. Putting up, 60 pages or 50 pages of dialogue to tape that every single day is like insane. And on Lucci days, because she didn't have to shoot in sequence, she would shoot all of her stuff in a few, and then have a larger block off, right? Well-deserved, by the way. Well-deserved that you work around your star like that. But on Lucci days, Lucci days, man, you might be shooting like, so far out of chronological order. It's like, am I even still going to be playing this character when you guys come back from this? You're like, what? Cue the evil twin. Can the evil twin for me now? Tag out. Got it. I mean, but really a great experience, and really taught me how to be professional on a set, man. Like, just keep your mouth shut and work. You know what I mean? And that's the only way you can get that much done in that little bit of time.
Right.
Bourke, I know that you're on a press junket and we only booked you for 30 minutes. Do you have time to actually talk about the new films that you've got coming out?
Absolutely. I would love to. Thank you so much for extending me. I do appreciate it.
Well, I've heard a lot of your podcasts you've done recently, and everybody's asking, well, what about the 10-year gap and all that? I'm like, go to another show if you want to hear that. Let's talk about some new stuff.
Appreciate it.
So as a podcast host, I always struggle with the fact that I don't really like my guests to swear on my show. I don't really, I want my kids to be able to hear this and not, I don't have to worry about, that word's coming, or anything like that. So you've got a film coming up called Peach Cobbler. You've hinted that it's similar to American Pie. And so my question is, what do you feel about telling your kids you're in a movie that Dad's in this, but you really can't see it? So what do you think about that?
Nope. Nope. He'll never know about that one ever. He's going to be 55 being like, my dad said he was in some movie called Peach Cobbler, but apparently I'm going to Men in Black him every time he stumbles. Nope, that never happened.
Yeah.
No, it is not. It is not kid friendly. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not even a little bit. It's funny. One of my really good friends, Josh Server, was on the original Nickelodeon's All That, and we've been friends for like 15 years or something, and love that guy. Mm-hmm. And he'll pop up as an adult still because he's a part, he's such part of the foundation of that Nickelodeon family. He'll pop up occasionally on shows that my son still loves to watch, right? So like he's like an FBI agent on like Sam and Cat or something. You know what I mean? Like it's always TSA or something like.
Sure.
And he just pops up into all of them because he's Josh Server and he's Nickelodeon royalty, right? Mm-hmm. And like I'm always, every time it happens, I'm like, son of a gun, you can't watch anything I'm in. I'm like, what can we, you know what I mean? I'm starting to think maybe I'll tell him, I'll just like superimpose myself into something, like a deep fake. Maybe one of my friends, maybe one of your listeners, your viewers can help me out. Maybe somebody knows how to like drop me into like Henry Danger or
there
something.
You
know what I mean? Hey, this is Captain Man's albino friend Bourke. Hey, I'm Mr. Invisible. Whatever. I mean, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll tell him that I'm in. I'll tell him I'm like, I'll find one of the shows that's kid friendly but has an invisible character. I'll be like, there I am.
Look, I just went across the screen. You could just get booked on one of them. I mean, that seems much easier.
You know what? That might be less elaborate, but easier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, there's an idea.
Right. Maybe that's the direction I should look. Yeah.
It's amazing that you did leave the business for this long, because your personality is so big. You would fit right in on those kids shows. Seriously.
Yeah.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Yeah. No, it's so weird, just that path that you get on where, there was a while where I kind of booked. It was crazy. I was like on this kind of booking hot streak. Mm-hmm. Just one after another of like these kind of adult, not always raunchy, not like Peach Cobbler adult, but like these adult themed or, dramatic roles that certainly weren't, even if they were PG-13, for example, like the content would be so boring to him, to a child.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, but I did do a show that is coming out on Apple TV Plus. It's from CBS Studios. It's called Swagger.
Oh, okay.
It's got a lot of adult themes to it. I think we just had the deadline release the cast, so I'm allowed to talk about it. It might have been, it might not have been listed, but I'm allowed to talk about it now. Reggie Rock Bythewood is our showrunner, creator. It's inspired by one of our executive producer, Kevin Durant, basketball player.
Nice.
By his youth. It's inspired. It's not based on, but it's inspired by his youth coming up in AAU and highly competitive youth basketball. And while there are certainly some heavy themes, certainly some poignant themes to it, there are absolutely, there's still high school kids playing basketball in this thing, and there's still some really cool elements that, like, again, it's about selecting the right clips for him. But, like, he loves Big Mama's House too. He loves that.
Yep.
So, like, there are some that he absolutely can watch. It's just not a lot of them. And in that one, he loves that, Big Mama gets me in the groin. I mean, he laughs and laughs and laughs. He thinks it's the funniest thing ever. And I'm like, yeah, this is great, good.
This is what serious actors do, son.
Yeah, it's like I can't show you Tears of the Sun, man, but your dad's kind of a bad dude, man. Your dad's an action guy, and there's Big Mama whooping my tail. I'm like, or Big Mama can beat me up, or I would get beaten up if I enraged a 6-year-old girl. I don't know. Toss up.
So Sour is your most recently released film that you're in. Tell us about this horror crime film.
Sure. It's a thriller. It's more thriller. I know they're pitching it as a horror crime film, and I get why but horror can be such a diverse
it can be
spectrum.
Gore or scary, and
correct. Yeah. From a genre. So, like, this one is more leaning into, like, the kind of the new Invisible Man.
Okay.
Kind of that sort of that, like, uncomfortable. There's certainly some domestic elements to it that are really, like, poignant and current and uncomfortable as well, and awful and, like, scary, and then there is this horror aspect to it, but that's like sprinkled in, and it's such the concept for it, the way that Clay Moffat, the director who also wrote it, and Adam Berardi, who was the EP on it, the way they shaped the storyline and let it be organically, let it just kind of hang as, like, this potential energy of jump scare, but never delivering the jump scare until they did.
Yeah.
It was really cool the way they kind of slow played it, but it's not that it's a slow movie. It's got a lot of pace to it, but the pace is more uncovering elements of the mystery than it is about the horror part. So it's spooky, I'm really excited for people to see it. Again, except for my son.
Again, doggone it.
He would never forgive me.
Where does Sour come out?
So Sour is releasing now in the days of COVID and Corona. Sour is releasing to VOD, video on demand. It's my understanding it's going to come out the first week of March.
Perfect.
And it will likely be on one staple platform. Initially for like a 2-week thing, and then be everywhere. So it'll either be an Apple TV thing or a Netflix thing or an Amazon Prime or an HBO Max kind of thing initially. Okay. And then it'll be everywhere. And you can actually, if for lack of another, at Bourke_Floyd at Instagram, my Instagram, I'll keep everybody current, and overnight pictures and Green Apple Entertainment. If you go to Green Apple Entertainment, that'll / you'll be able to find all of the details. They're really hammering out. They're really proud of the film. We're really proud of the film. We're excited for it. And so I think, they're taking them to the mattresses to make sure that we are in set up for success with the release of that. And then Peach Cobbler Swagger will be out on TV weekly on Apple TV Plus, and I believe that's April, May.
Okay. And
then Peach Cobbler is slated for VOD on Amazon Prime, and that would be June 1st, I think, or June 2nd. It's that first beginning of June. Again, that one's a raunchy comedy. I mean, Eric Roberts is in it, Oscar nominee, and his wife Eliza, who's in the original Animal House, is in it.
Oh wow! Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's the dime. She's the dime in the original Animal House, and she is a doll. I love Eliza. I love Eric, and Eliza's son Keaton is an amazing musician, by the way. So check him out. But it's that's really that one. It's got Knick Knack Paddywhack. So it's got Knick Knack shows up, and he's the coolest guy I've ever met. And I'm joking around with him. I'm laughing, and I'm like, so an actor goes, no. I go, oh, all right. Well, you're hilarious. You're a stand-up comedian. He goes, no, don't do that. I don't do that. So what do you do, man? He's like, put videos on my Instagram and TikTok. He's like, right. No, sure. I'm sorry. I mean, for a job. What do you do? Like,
that probably is.
What puts food in your mouth? He's like, oh yeah. That man. I make joke videos and goof off, and I have like 5 million followers. And I was like, 5 million people? Like 5 million people follow you? And he's hilarious and he's really talented in it. He's great in it, but it's funny that he's like, I'm not an actor. I was like, you must be a comedian. You're hilarious. Are you a comedian? He's like, no, don't do that either. Like, oh, you just make videos and like entertain people. And he's just in it for that. I swear. He is so knick-knack paddywhack is he's hilarious. He's in it. I mean, it's just that one's a raunchy joke, over the top the entire time at a 10. I mean, at one point the entire cast lines up and smacks me. And
all right.
Yeah, just one, literally line up, smack, 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 smack. And so like we rehearsed it, and I remember we rehearsed it and nobody actually smacked me. And then the director's like, no, you got to actually smack him. And I was like, yeah, they will. They're going to.
Let's do it when the cameras are rolling.
Yeah. He's like, no, let's smack him for rehearsal. Smack him for real. I was like, so we're going to roll on rehearsal. And this is as the first person he was like, in action. I was like, are we rolling on rehearsal? And she smacked me. I was like, okay. And she walked off. And this is, I think, the take that actually made it that they were able to edit, because he was rolling on rehearsal, but I wanted to check before I got smacked.
Uh-huh.
So we're rolling on rehearsals. Hey, I got smacked. I was like, okay.
So it was real.
Okay. And then the next one smacked me, and I was like, oh, we're doing this. Okay. But it took the two. Again, I'm a big dumb animal, man. Forrest Gump my way through life. But all I want to do is make people laugh and have a good time. And so I think Peach Cobbler will certainly do that. I'm also filming a film right now for Green Apple and Paradox Universe called Alien Sniper. That'll come out in the fall. Look for that.
Talk about that. Okay.
That one is that one's dope. That one, the director on it, Joseph Umba, is like he's amazing. His camera work. He's running the camera because he's right on it with us the whole time, tracking with us. Very much like the opening of Extraction, the Chris Hemsworth thing that the Russo brothers did, like just right in and following the beats of action with it. And then you know what's really cool is he just statics that thing and holds that camera for the drama portions of it as well. Like there's some emotion in this thing, and some scares and a lot of action and a lot of like sci-fi. I mean, this one is a lot of fun. Olivia Okoro is the star in it. Okay. The star of it, and she's a new talent. She actually won an NCAA championship in volleyball with UCLA. Wow. So I mean, she's a winner for sure. She's doing great in it. I mean, that one's I'm really excited for that one as well. So it's cool. I've got a little horror, got a lot of real weird comedy, and I mean weird.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, like there are times where I'm just not wearing pants, and it's never explained. It's never explained. Yeah, it's just like there he goes, not wearing pants. You know what I mean? Nobody even. It's like, okay, whatever. And then an action film to close out the year, and we've got a couple of other things that I'm attached to. I think there's one Prankster with Next Traker, which is a guy that's also got like 3 million followers. And
those people are called content creators, Bourke. That's their official title.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Content creators and Carnival Act Extraordinaire. Wow. Actually, Next is amazing, man. He what he can do, how he can set a prank. He will set the prank right in. I've seen him. He'll set the prank. We haven't started shooting yet, but he'll set the prank right in front of you, and you won't see it.
Wow.
David Copperfield, the prank.
And what's that project called?
That one's called Prankster.
Okay, I gotta look that up too.
Yeah, so that one's going to be a lot of fun. We're going into production on that in April. So it's again again, man, it's my dance card certainly isn't full, but it's filling up, and I couldn't be more happy about it. I couldn't be more excited for all of them. So
you were a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being on Fancounters. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys. And thanks everybody for watching and listening, man. This was a lot of fun. I hope to catch up with you guys again soon.
We have to, especially when Pranksters comes out.
I'm telling you, yeah. The guy literally, David Copperfield's a prank. I've seen him do it, not just to me. I've seen him do it, and I miss it, the sleight of hand, how he gets it off.
Oh, wow.
The guy's a genius. It's cool. It's trippy. And he tells you he's going to prank you when he's doing it. He's like, that's who he wears this clown masks thing over his face the whole time. You're getting pranked. It's happening. And then it happens to that person instead of you. And you're like, what just... I thought I got, it's like remember the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yes.
Yeah.
They used to pull those kinds of stunts. Like he does it, but he does like the up close magic setting up the prank. It's genius. So Prankster's going to be a lot of fun too. You guys have been a lot of fun.
Oh,
and I can't thank you enough for having me on.
We appreciate it, Bourke. All right. Take care. Thank you so much.
Now I got a quick question for you off the record. Sure. I saw that you got into the culinary field for a while.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what is your specialty dish?
Reverse seared New York strip prime with an Argentinian rustic chopped chimichurri, wasabi mashed potatoes, and buttered corn.
Oh. I'm hungry now.
I'm leaving that in, and we're on a plane to Arizona.
Yeah.
Hey, come and see me, man. Come and knock on my door.
Well, hey, thanks again.
Our thanks to Bourke Floyd for joining us on the show this week. What'd you think, Trace?
It was pretty funny.
I can't wait to see this Prankster movie
I know.
he's going to do. It's production in April, so we probably won't see it till the year's end, but he's also got some other projects coming up that he mentioned, Alien Sniper, and the television show on Apple TV called Swagger, and that's coming out next month.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward. I'm going to check these out.
Yep, we wrote them all down. We got our notes.
I still got to, I'm going to have to check out Peach Cobbler.
Did you watch American Pie?
I did.
All of them?
Oh, all of them. Yeah, loved it. This one time at band camp.
With that, we better go. We have another celebrity guest coming to join us next week, and we hope you do too. We will be back next Friday with a brand new episode. In the meantime, send us an email to hello@fancounters.com. You can comment on this episode or tell me a guest that would be better than this one that you want me to bring on, and we'll get working on it for you, if I can speak. That's when you know you've taped enough for the day and you just need to go home.
Yeah, that happens.
All right, so we're out of here. See you next Friday. Have a great week, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, Bourke Floyd, and you're watching Fancounters.
Oh my God. With that, we got to let you go, buddy.
Thanks, Bourke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Different show.
You may have overstayed your welcome. I don't know.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.